Realizing that many of the changes brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic reach beyond health as well as financial consequences, relationships are also facing some added challenges. For those in romantic relationships, are you sick of sheltering with your partner? Well, listen, you're probably not the only one. Joining us now to share some advice on keeping those romantic relationships healthy and alive during the stay-at-home order is relationship coach Monika Sands. Monika, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Catalina. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So can you start by telling us what kinds of challenges are a lot of couples experiencing right now?
So they're in tight quarters. People are together all too often. They're feeling like they have to get things done. They're feeling like they have to be creative or do things. And so I'm finding that they're stepping on each other's toes and not necessarily hearing what each other needs.
Of course. I've experienced this myself. I'm married myself, and, the close quarters sometimes can create some frustrations, and, even just within yourself, and you're trying to balance that with someone else. But you have some important tips. You have 4 tips to trying to keep these relationships fresh and alive during this time. Tell me, what are those?
Yeah, so the first one is surprising each other. I know it sounds funny, like how in the middle of a pandemic can I surprise my partner or my spouse? But really, if you take the time to do things, so my husband and I, we typically are cooking a lot and we're eating a lot of the same food. So what I did is I put out dinner one night and then I surprised him by ordering one of his favorite meals. And that little thoughtfulness, that little extra step that I took just has him feel appreciated, loved. And so that makes a big difference when you're trying to get along and connect during this time. Another one is really going to a date night and sharing with each other something, being intentional about the time that you're spending together. So we can get inundated with all the things we're doing, but we're not actually taking the time to look into each other's eyes, to do something nice and romantic. So driving down the coast, grabbing a bite to eat, supporting a local restaurant, and enjoying that time together, or just having a picnic out in your backyard can be 2 easy things, but it takes that time instead of all the busyness that we tend to have in our lives.
Oh, absolutely. Let me ask you one last thing. We have heard that during this pandemic, there has been an increase in divorces in some states. We have seen those statistics. What happens if you feel like you are on the brink of that? Where do you turn to? What do you do?
So part of the thing about that is that all of a sudden you have partners that have been working and are separate, doing their own thing in their own life. And now they're coming together and being inside of each other's space. And they don't know necessarily how to communicate. They don't know how to make adjustments and agreements. So I think the first thing is really to ask for support, getting help. I think a lot of couples think they're supposed to know. And what's really great is if they actually ask for help and they work on their communication, their listening skills, and they make agreements between each other, then they can really find ways to navigate things that are new and completely different than they've ever had to experience before.
Yeah, and I think one of those ways could be even asking for relationship advice and counseling. So tell us, where can couples find more healthy tips from you?
Awesome. So if they go to our website, Jan, Jan, and A-N-D, Monika, spelled with a K, Monika.com, they can find downloadables. They can watch videos that we have that will actually add some laughter into this intense situation for some couples. Yeah. And so they can maybe sit back and have a great time together instead of being inside of that stress all the time.
Oh, I hear you. Thank you so much for joining us, Monika. I so appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much.